about some of my A Song of Ice and Fire theories. I've got the laptop set up behind the phone, so I'm gonna get up my playlist and then we can chat and people can ask questions. I'm doing this because last week I had so much fun doing the A Song of Ice and Fire Iceberg that I thought, why not do an A Song of Ice and Fire breakdown theory video. So give me a second, I'm gonna get these up. I'm hitting my playlists. Brilliant. Game of Thrones. If you want to watch any of my theories, they're all on my channel. I think they're one of the first tabs that are linked. So, my first A Song of Ice and Fire theory, and my most popular one, is of course that Sansa Stark and Jeyne Poole, fake Arya, are going to meet at some point and take down Littlefinger together. But, this is a big but, right? I think that Sansa is going to play along with this being Arya. I don't think Jeyne Poole is going to be outed at all. Does anybody else have any thoughts about that out there? That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be very different from the books because Arya is never going to become Arya again. She will continue to be nobody, or no one. So that's my first theory. It's one of my more popular theories actually. It's still top ranked on my Song of Ice and Fire theories like playlist. And I think it has legs. I do think it has legs. I can see when Sansa goes north and Jeyne comes south what will happen, especially if Theon is executed by Stannis. I mean, who's really gonna, question her that closely to know? I mean, there's the whole Rickon thing, but Rickon was so young when Arya and him were separated. Would he even know the difference? I mean, Nymeria would obviously know the difference, but that's a wolf. Okay, so that's theory number one. Theory number two is the theory that Myrcella is very, very important. That is Myrcella Baratheon, Cersei and Jaime's second child. I feel she is really important to the story because she is going to be a human sacrifice at some point, right? I think the Dornish are going to rally behind her. I think something's going to go on there. I think Dorne will probably crown Myrcella at some point properly. I think there might be a fallout. Hi, Dean, and hi, Zinkai. I'm good. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I am good. I've got the day off. I'm working tomorrow though, so not so fun, but all good. If you're watching, it'd be great if you could give the video a like. Nice to meet you too. Yeah, so my theory is that Myrcella is going to be sacrificed at some point by Daenerys, and that's what's going to make the city turn on her, and that is going to be what turns Dany insane. Hi, Sam. So that's my second most popular theory on my YouTube channel. I get into it in way more detail. I start comparing Myrcella to Jane Grey and stuff in the theory. So if you want to go and watch that, you can. My second most popular theory is that Benjen Stark is Val's father. And I don't know, it was one of the first videos I ever made on this channel. God, I made it in February 2020, so peak lockdown. Well, actually before lockdown. Yeah, before lockdown, that's insane. But it was one of the first videos I ever made, and I think it has legs, right? I do think it has legs, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, now having done a bit more research, I think maybe there's the whole Benjen knew about Lyanna running away with Rhaegar, not being kidnapped, and that's why I ended up at the wall. But I also think that Benjen may have got someone pregnant, and that's who Val is. So if anybody is interested in that theory, also on my channel, that's the third most popular video on my channel. Okay, then we have who is young Griff. And he's a Blackfyre, guys. Young Griff is a Blackfyre, without a doubt. But I think he is Illyrio's son. I think he's Illyrio and Serra's son, Serra being Varys' sister. So I think we have Varys and Serra. They're Blackfyres from somewhere. Then we have Illyrio. He maybe has some, you know, maybe not Blackfyre exactly blood, but maybe some dragon blood from somewhere, you know, like Brown Ben Plum. They meet up, they have a kid. That's why Varys is backing young Griff, because that is his nephew. It would also make sense why Varys was used in that blood sacrifice when they cut his member off, because he's got king's blood. Anybody got any questions? I'm gonna have some tea. Ooh, ooh. Try not to spill, it's really full. You guys like my Disney Christmas cup? I haven't put it away. I probably should put it away with the other Christmas cups, but I like this one because it's really big. Okay, we are moving along to one of my other theories, which is that Dalla is Rhaegar's daughter. This one, right, so I have two separate videos about this, right? Because I thought I found more evidence later on. And I still think it holds up. I think this one actually holds up more than Val and Benjen's daughter, on hindsight, right? I can't get into all the details. There's a lot of it. It goes back to like Storm's End and stuff, and some of the stuff that Stannis' daughter says, and the way that ties in, and names, and you know what George R. R. Martin's like about names. So it's really long as well. Like, I think the two videos combined maybe come to like 20 minutes, so I can't go into all the details with that one, but I thought it blew my mind. It also gets into, you know, her baby being named Aemon by Gilly and the significance of that, you know? So, sorry, I got an email. I'm waiting for it to go away. So I think that's all really important, but there's a lot more in there. So go and have a look. I break down names and stuff and timelines and everything. Like, again, I think that was me peak lockdown. Yeah, June 2020, so peak lockdown with nothing to do. And it's got 69 likes. Good number of likes. So definitely go and check that one out if you are a Song of Ice and Fire fan. I mean, I think it's good. Okay, moving down the list. Right. Okay, so we got House Yronwood. Represents the Tudors. I believe that. I was rereading one of the books, and there was a lot of like House Yronwood stuff going on. I think they're intermarried with the Targaryens somewhere. I know they are in my brain. I went back and did like family trees and things. You can see all of that, and how, you know, they've got the kind of Targaryen colouring, like not completely silver hair and purple eyes, but very, very blonde, you know, very pale blue eyes and stuff. So I think that's pretty good. If you're watching, feel free to give this video a like. And if you want a shout out, just say, and I'll say. Okay, so moving down, we have one of my other videos which hasn't hit 1,000 views yet. It's really close. We're in like 11 views away from hitting 1,000, so if anybody wants to go and watch this one, it is Sansa Stark and suicide, and how I think Sansa will end up committing suicide. I think she's going to jump off something. There's a lot of foreshadowing in the books. Every single book has foreshadowing of Sansa on high places thinking about jumping off. Every single one, right? So it just all clicked in my head, and I was like, Sansa's gonna do that at some point. Probably, I'm gonna say maybe in the last book. I don't think Sansa's gonna get the rah-rah Queen of the North moment she got in the TV show. I think D&D only did that because Sansa was their favourite character. I do think Sansa will have a very tragic end. think she's kind of, you know, that, you know, heroine character you really want to get a romantic relationship, and George R. R. Martin loves to subvert expectations. So I can't see that happening for Sansa. Okay, this is another Dorne video. I've made so many Dorne videos. This one came out in January 2021, right? And it is Dorne's is the Wales of Westeros. So I think I made Dorne is the Wales of Westeros, and then I made House Ironwood represents the Tudors. I think they came out in that order. Because when I was researching my Dorne is the Wales of Westeros video, I found so much stuff about House Ironwood and their symbolism that I thought was really, really important. And if anyone knows the Beauforts and portcullises, that plays a big role in my theory. And George R. R. Martin loves history. So yeah, those kind of need to be watched in tandem. I would say watch the Wales of Westeros first. Actually, we can see when they came out. So January 12th and then January 5th. Yeah, so you have to watch the Dorne is the Wales of Westeros first, and then after that you watch House Ironwood represents the Tudors. So if you're going to watch them in that order. Okay, moving further down the line. If anybody has any questions, please ask them. And if you're watching, give the video a like. Okay, so who is Sarah Snow in House of the Dragon? We haven't seen her yet. To be honest, I don't think we're going to see her. I mean, we could maybe see her next season because we haven't seen that much of the North. But I'm not going to hold out very much hope. In actuality, I feel a bit bad about that because I really would like to see her as a character and see that development. But I think we might get, you know, a combination character, the way they've combined Nettles and Rhaenys? Is it Rhaenys? I can't remember. There's so many Targaryen names and they all begin with R. You know, they've combined the Nettles character with, is it Bella? The younger daughter of Daemon. So I think they're going to do that, the same sort of thing. We're going to have a combination character. I mean, it's better than no character, right? Okay. I'm going to drink some more tea. All this talking is thirsty work. Okay. So this is one of my favorite videos, and I don't think it's got enough love, right? I made it in March 2020, and it's about how I think the Blackfish is going to join up with Young Griff, right? I do maps, I work it out, right? So I really think that's going to happen. It's not my longest video, it's only like 6 minutes, but I can totally see that happening. I can see him doing a very big kind of Barristan the Bold move where he's like, my first loyalty is to the Targaryens. They never did anything to my family. They did things to the Starks. You know, why did we get embroiled in all of this? So I could see him going and pledging allegiance to Young Griff. You know, Dany's not on the scene in Westeros yet, and I think he could definitely do that. So that's my theory on there. I know a lot of people think like he's just hiding out in the Riverlands and he's going to join up with Lady Stoneheart, but I can't see the Blackfish being down for all that Lady Stoneheart weirdness. To be honest, I really, really can't, you know? I'm sorry, car doors keep going, that's why I keep like looking out, because I live somewhere kind of busy. Okay, so the next video is the second part of my Dalla is Rhaegar's daughter, more evidence, but we already talked about that. So moving further down, does anybody have any questions about anything? Anything A Song of Ice and Fire related you'd like to ask me my point of view on? Scrolling down. Okay, so we are now talking about Tyrion, everybody's favorite character, and he's definitely one of my favorite characters, and Tyrion's dreams. Right, this is again not one of my longest videos, it's only like 7 minutes, but I think Tyrion is kind of not having prophetic dreams, but his dreams are going to come to fruition. There's one dream in particular when he's dreaming about King's Landing being in ashes. And at the time, you know, when I first read it, all the Song of Ice and Fire, like, you know, the Game of Thrones series hadn't ended. We didn't know how it was going to end. And then we see Dany burn the city, obviously, in the end of Game of Thrones. And I think that's kind of, he's going to be there when Dany burns the city. So I break it all down in that video. And I think it's good, you know? And then my next video is Sansa Stark is the Grey Wolf of Winterfell. And it kind of just talks about how Sansa's maybe an underrated character for a lot of people. Especially like guys that read the books. I think they sometimes underestimate Sansa. You know, I do think she will have a tragic end at some point, but I think she's like the Grey Wolf, you know, the red herring that people aren't, people are looking at everybody else like she's just blending into the background, and I think she is going to be really important. So that's one of those videos. And now my cat wants in. She's been in and out all day. It's really annoying. She comes in for like 5 seconds and then she just wants out again. So you can stay out for a while. I fed you. Yes. So we've got a question. Christy Angel. Could Sansa have already tried committing suicide during the Battle of the Blackwater? Rush giving the hitting behind the Hound's kiss, Sandor brought her back to life. I don't think so, but she has considered it. That's not the kind of the one that jumps to my mind immediately. There's one, I think it's in the same book as the Battle of the Blackwater, when she goes up to the top of a tower and she's looking out and she bumps into Sandor, and that really gave me like serious feelings of this girl wants to jump. So there's a lot of it. And then I also think the climbing down the cliff with Littlefinger, I thought that was quite telling, you know, her having to do that. And then there's I think it's, was it the waterfall in the Eyrie that doesn't hit the ground? Ila's tears, it's like Issa's tears or something, and it's about like her father died, her brother died, her husband died, like all her sons died, and then she couldn't cry and threw herself off the mountain, and then the gods cursed her that, you know, she would have to cry forever until her tears would reach the valley floor. So I think that's kind of telling, but go watch the video. Tears of Lys. Not the Tears of Lys, that's the poison. Isn't it? Tears of Lys is the poison. There's definitely a waterfall in the Vale with somebody's like tears. Catelyn talks about it in the first book. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions? And if you want to give the video a like, go ahead. I think I'm going to do a reread of all the Dunk and Egg books pretty soon, because I would like to kind of get caught up with all their stories before the TV show comes out, because of course I'm going to watch the TV show and review it when it comes out. Okay, my next video is the time I met Kit Harington and Ewan Rowan. I think it's Rowan. It's cut out the end of his name there, in a bar in Belfast. So you can watch that. It's just literally me telling the story of the time I met them. And the guy who plays Ramsay Bolton is really, really nice. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got the missing stories from Winterfell Crypts on my channel. This one kind of goes more into like Irish folklore and the importance of iron in Irish folklore. I mean, like, I'm Irish, and like my family are like really superstitious on both sides. Like, I have a horseshoe up in my house to stop fairies getting in, and when we like redid the garden, I wasn't allowed to pull up the fairy thorn bush that I have because you know, magic and stuff. My dad got real weird about that, so it's the only plant from the original garden still in the garden. Yeah, so if you're interested in like Irish folklore and things, and how I think George R. R. Martin is tying that in to his world building, you can watch that. Okay, we've got Varys' real name and the meaning behind it. Again, another short video. It's like 6 minutes, but I break down his name. And his name is Roman, his full name, not Varys. And I think it's really interesting because of the amount of significance George R. R. Martin puts on people's names. Okay, moving down again. The time I bumped into and kind of met Natalie Emanuel. That's quite a funny story, actually. She was really nice as well. Yeah. Okay, we're moving further down the list. We've got a video where I review Sweet Robin's fanfiction. I've done quite a few of those, actually. I might do a few more. If anybody would like to see me do a live review of Sweet Robin's fanfiction, just let me know, because that's something I would be interested in doing, and it's something I've thought about. But then again, like fanfiction, sometimes like it makes me angry. So I did a few of them, and then I was like, I don't really want Alyssa's tears. Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you, that's great. Yeah, Alyssa's tears. Yeah, so if anyone is interested in seeing those, let me know, drop me a comment, and maybe we'll do some more of those, because they were quite popular, actually. Then we've got some reviews of House of the Dragon trailers and thoughts. Then we'll move down a bit, because we're not talking about House of the Dragon today. We are talking about A Song of Ice and Fire. Okay, we're getting on to some of my like comparison videos, which are a little bit odd, but I like them. Okay, so we have Cersei Lannister is based on Marguerite of Burgundy from the Iron King series. My personal opinion, right? I know George said that she's based on another Marguerite from the Wars of the Roses, but I think this is it. You know what, right? Babble memes, you are not the first person to say that. And you probably won't be the last. I get that actually quite a lot. I like it. I mean, I think she's pretty, so I'll take it. Okay, so, yeah, so Cersei Lannister, based on Marguerite of Burgundy from the Iron King series. I think that video has quite a lot of stuff going on in it, so definitely worth a watch. I reviewed all the Iron King books, I made comparison videos. That series was really, really good. It's old. George R. R. Martin actually wrote the foreword for it. It was originally written in French, it got translated into English, and is seriously worth watching. Okay, our next video on my playlist is Penny is a Leprechaun. Leprechaun? Yeah, Leprechaun. Sounds weird when you say it out loud. Yeah, Penny is a Leprechaun, but she's a bad luck charm. Personal opinion. Anyway, I break down some of the symbolism surrounding Penny. When I originally made that video, I made it with the idea that she was Tyrion's daughter, but then I did the math, and the math was not mathing. So that didn't happen. Okay, next video is Prince Daemon Targaryen is based on Charles the Duke of Valois from the Iron King books. Again, it's a good comparison. Well, I think it's a good comparison, so go watch it. Then we have a video called Arya and Arya's First Blood, and it's about her first kill and how her first kill, you know, she kills the stable boy, but then she kills some other people, maybe at, you know, when they're in the fort with the nice Night's Watch guys, but then she kills the guy in Harrenhal, and then she has like that really massive wolf dream, and I think that's really significant. So that covers that. Another Sweet Robin review. Rhaenyra Targaryen is based on Isabella the She-Wolf of France from the Iron King books. That's a good review, but the next one I think is even better. It's where I talk about how Joffrey Baratheon is based on Louis X of France from the Iron King books, and there are so many comparisons there, like so many that it kind of blew my mind when I was reading them and making these comparisons, so I just had to make a video. We've got how Jaehaerys is based on Edward III. Okay, this is my next one's really out there, right? So this occurred to me on a reread, and when it occurred to me, I was like, holy shit, I think I'm right. Right, so bear with me. Bear with me. And if you think I'm wrong, shout it out, because I know it's really out there. Jaqen H'ghar was sent to the Wall to kill Samwell Tarly. Okay, I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. I think that his father hired a Faceless Man to kill Sam because he didn't want his family disgraced. And it would take place out of sight, out of mind, his wife would never know, and he would never have to worry about any shame coming to his family. I think that since then, Jaqen has been following Sam, and that's why he's in Old Town now, because he knows Sam's heading there. You know, with Pate the Pig Boy and stuff. So I think that theory has some legs. I know it's probably super out there and nobody is going to agree with me, but that is my theory and I'm sticking to it. Okay, moving along. It's weird having the laptop behind the computer, like having my laptop behind my phone, because I'm like having to be like, whoop, every 5 minutes. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Then we've got a video where I just talk about how I got into Game of Thrones and I kind of break down all of that. Okay, Kirsty Angel. In Chinese mythology, there are two guardians of the underworld, Horseface and Bullhead, and there just happen to be the characters' nicknames. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. That's really, really cool. Awesome. I've learned something new today. Thank you, Kirsty. That's good. Really, really good. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to like slot that away in my brain. I'm reading Gaijin at the minute by James Clavell, so I've been kind of getting like a little bit into like Asian folklore because I don't know very much about it. So that's really good. Okay, so moving down, we've got more reviews of House of the Dragon, blah blah blah. Another Sweet Robin review. I made a video kind of against Order of the Green Hand because I used to watch their lives all the time, right? I used to always watch Order of the Green Hand lives, right? I wouldn't stay up all night to watch them, but I've normally watched them the next day in work. And I kind of had to stop watching them, right? Because every time I would watch them, it would just turn into a Catelyn sucks fest. That's all they would talk about, and how Sansa sucked and how Catelyn sucked. And I don't feel that they suck. I feel like they're actually quite good female characters. So I made a Catelyn doesn't suck video. Just, you know, because I wanted to. Okay, then my next one is House of the Dragon is based on royal succession from the Iron King. Then we have Tyrion Lannister is based on Tycho Brahe. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I think he was a Danish astronomer. It's kind of tinfoily, but I had fun with it, you know? Again, another short video. It's like less than 5 minutes, but, you know, I like making them. And then I've got a video where I talk about what it was like to be an extra on Game of Thrones. I did that. Oh, and my fiance's home, so I'm going to bid you all goodbye. Goodbye.